podcast. This is Awesome Alex.
And this is Kissable Katie. We really welcome you to our podcast where we're going to make some nachos with some extra sour cream on top.
Yeah, we'll have some apple pie with a bunch of pizza and macaroni and cheese on top, all in a casserole. It's going to be real tasty.
And what we would like to know from you viewers, if you like egg salad, potato salad, or macaroni salad.
And if you like a tater salad with mustard and mayonnaise.
Thank you very much. We're about to ready to start to this podcast.
Oh, coming out of that high-pitched fast lane of whatever, that really hurt my mouth. Oh, God.
It sure did. So this episode, we're going to be talking about our fitness journeys from the A to the B to the C.
Yeah, welcome to the long awaited fitness episode. So we're going to talk about basically like why we're talking about this, our weight gain, our weight loss, counting calories, fasting, exercise, emotions, just all kinds of dumb stuff.
Right, and we hope you guys can relate to it in some sense, and it's in preparation to the YouTube video that I do want to post. It'll be 10 rude things said to me when I was fat, and I'm going to be doing a mukbang, aka eating food while I'm talking about rude things that were said to me when I was fat. So it's kind of a precursor to that. So it may repeat a lot of the things that I talk about, but we're going to head into before the accidentally fasting began, before we realized what diets were and losing weight and gaining weight and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so I guess starting with the cause of weight gain, right? So when I was a kid and I was encouraged to eat more, I think because I was a boy or whatever, like my parents had three boys and a girl, so.
And it was a masculine thing, to eat a lot of food.
Well, yeah, and I grew up in the 90s, so it was like that was the thing. Like McDonald's and fast food was super huge. Subway, which really isn't like a good way to lose weight, was super huge. And
meatball marinara.
Meatballs. So yeah, like when I was growing up, the first time that I really recognized the habits of my family influencing my eating was we were at this, I think it was an Outback. I'm pretty sure it was Outback. But, we were traveling somewhere because we didn't eat that fancy on a regular basis, but we were at some Outback or something like that. And I had like 6 Coca-Colas, which were, 16-ounce glasses or whatever. And like my dad was all, dang, good job, and like, he's a very fitness-minded person, always exercised, ran, lifted weights, used to be able to bench 400 pounds and did karate and shit like that. So I think after that was when I started like being like, oh, like, and I was probably like 12. I was like, I'm fat.
And I think for me, I think the awareness of being fat, I wasn't necessarily fat, but I remember being 6 years old looking in a mirror and saying, I'm fat and ugly. And, I literally just looked in the mirror and that was what I saw. And I attributed that to myself, I don't know if I was fat, but I think a lot of women can relate to that feeling. But my parents, they didn't, make me, they weren't feeders necessarily, but I think it's just different mindset. Like you ate all that food until you were extremely full, and my sisters used to shovel spaghetti and meatballs onto my plate and I would eat all of it because I was the youngest and I wanted to make sure that everybody was happy with me and I didn't want to cause any trouble. So of course I would eat everything on my plate. And unfortunately that caused a spiral of a bad relationship with food, which I would eat until I was extremely stuffed, not knowing the signals of when you're full.
Yeah, and that comes from, now we know that being raised with like, I want to see your plate empty before you get up from the table or whatever. Eat everything on your plate. And then, like, yeah, if siblings are sneaking food onto your plate, like, you just end up eating a fuck ton of food. But I think, like, it's an up and down struggle through childhood, or it was for me, and the going, being heavier and then being fit and whatever. And And so when I moved out of my parents' house to Albuquerque, I was I was reasonably fit and skinny. I think I was probably my lowest weight of my adult life. I was like 18 or 19, right? And then you go to college and they're like, "Watch out for the freshman 15." And I was like, "Whatever, dude." And I was super poor working like part-time at a deli, I think.
Kmart.
Oh yeah, I started at Kmart. And I remember, yeah, like celery and quesadillas. And then when you moved in a couple months later, we upgraded to eating a lot of potatoes.
Yeah, and when I lived with my parents, it was one meal a day. I never ate lunch at school. A lot of girls, in high school, they don't want to eat lunch because they don't want people looking at them and judging them.
Hmm.
So I never ate, and then I would come home and eat whatever my mom made me, and then that was it. So I lost a bunch of weight. And then I had a toxic ex-boyfriend who would constantly call me fat. So that made it even worse to where I didn't want to eat, and it was just a lot of really toxic things. And then by the time I moved out of my parents' house, I was, we were pretty, I wouldn't say we're impoverished, but we were pretty poor.
Well,
And like we didn't have the means to eat a lot, So
well, I mean, yeah, we were in a studio apartment with a broken down car, mine that didn't run at all. So we were sharing yours. I was working part-time for minimum wage. I don't remember you having a job until you graduated college, I think,
Yeah, and
right?
then I was going to school, and at that point, I was going to school and getting my bachelor's, and it wasn't until Alex got a decent paying job where we could actually go out to eat and actually buy groceries. And of course we went crazy, and it's like when you're restricted for so long, you're gonna binge, and that's what happened. And I see
Yeah,
that
I
with
think,
my life now. When I restrict, of
oh,
course I'm gonna
totally. It's
binge.
on a much smaller level now, I think. But
Yeah.
yeah, so it was like 2 years or whatever that we were super poor. And then I started making $10 an hour. And then it was like, we can afford to. I remember every payday I would go out and buy sushi for lunch from like Smith's, our Kroger. So, like,
With the
and
onion
it was just
strings
like,
on
damn,
top.
I can eat Smith's sushi. Like, this is fucking awesome. And I was working 20 hours a week for $10 an hour or something like that. And then, so we started going out to eat a lot, and then over the year, and drinking a lot, especially because I think I probably drank more calories back then than I ate. Um, but what do you like? So it was probably what, a 3 year journey to being our peak
Yeah,
weights.
so and I remember, going to my sister's house because at that time she was very into fitness. She run marathons and stuff. So I remember, taking a piss or shit or whatever I was doing, I'd hop on the scale and I
Hmm.
was like 170, and I don't know if that was accurate, but I just remember being like, this scale must be completely wrong, even though I totally gained tons of weight, but like in my mind, I just couldn't even comprehend it. I was avoidant. I had too much other stuff going on. I had a lot of familial shit going on, a lot of stress going on. So like to me, it was like, well, that's the last thing on my mind. But I knew something was wrong because I developed a lot of like blisters on my back, like tons of blisters, everywhere, like eczema on my head, all over my chest, and I had problems walking a long time because my thighs would rub on each other. Like, I knew that physically something was wrong, but I just didn't want to accept that, okay, maybe I'm overweight. I didn't even want to accept it. And I remember one time my friend was like, we were talking about Hooters or something, and she's like, well, what would you do if you had a body to work there? And I remember being so delusional, like thinking, like, I could work at Hooters, like, fuck you. And I probably could. I mean, shit, dude. Like, I carried my weight well. I don't give a fuck, Like, I carry my weight well. I don't care. And I think, like, people who are overweight can work at these establishments. But, like, I just remember thinking, like, why are you asking me that? I think I'm fine. So it's a level of delusion that develops when you
Well,
gain weight when you're, and I was probably like 120 or something before I started gaining weight.
yeah, and like you have all these problems when we got to our peak weights, because I think I probably because I peaked at like 250, maybe 255, and to me we had these problems, and it didn't click for a couple of years because that's who I saw growing up, like my family and my family's friends, and like you know, all these people that I would go visit. Not so much my friends. I mean, I grew up in Hawaii, so like there are a lot of obese people there, which, you know, I mean, they have like really good food, luau's and barbecues and shit. And so like I mean, I think that by the time that we hit our peak weight, like I was delusional. I was like, this is just how Americans are. I'm American, and we eat McDonald's and we gain weight. Like that to me was and drink beer. So
Well, and I think it's funny because at that point, like, I didn't even associate food with my weight gain. I was like, oh, well, I gained weight because I'm growing up, you know. Maybe I have a thyroid problem, you know. I had no idea. And then it wasn't until I had, well, so to go back to when I first started losing weight, it was 2014. And Halloween was approaching, and I was like, be nice if I could take pictures and not feel disgusting, you know. So maybe I should lose like 10 pounds. So I started counting calories and a little bit, you know, I wasn't crazy about it, just kind of being aware of what I was eating. And I did lose a little tiny bit of weight, and that was it. And so I took my Halloween pictures, and I was Cat in the Hat, and I was feeling good and stuff. I was like, okay, well, I feel okay, you know. And it wasn't until April of 2015, I had a panic attack which landed me into the ER, and they weighed me, and I was like 155, and I was like, wow, I lost a little bit of weight from calorie counting or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I felt kind of excited, you know, but then at that point,
even when we were counting calories, like, because you started a year before me, and then by the time I started, I don't think we owned a scale. Like for a long time.
Yeah, we never owned a scale ever.
Which is really weird to think about. Like, I mean, I'm never going to be sure what my peak weight was. I think it was 255, right?
Yeah, I don't know what mine is either, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like this weird fuzzy area where I don't remember when we bought our first scale, but I remember that being like, we were doing pretty good with our weight loss at the time that we bought a scale.
I remember when I bought a scale, I remember, like, I was working at my job, and I was like, I have to go to Target and buy a scale, and our friend Cody was like, that's a good idea, you know? So he was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I went ahead and did it, and that's when I knew, like, I wanted to, you know, keep doing it, and I think there was one day where I was working, you know, at front desk at a counseling agency, and one of our clients was selling It Works wraps, which were those things where you would wrap around your stomach and supposedly it would like drain whatever with the sweat. So it's supposed to make your stomach
It's like those
slimmer.
Things that shake you when you're on
Exactly.
It's not even like a treadmill. You just stand there and get shook. I think that's what they should be a gym called Get Shook or something. It's just all those things that like
shake and bake, dude.
Yeah.
Well, at that point I had already lost, you know, like 10 pounds or 15, and so this lady is like, hey, you guys need to buy my shake, you know, no, I'm sorry, my It Works wrap. And she only looked at me. She was literally only directing it at me. And there was 2 other people at our front desk. And at that point, you know, I was so embarrassed and humiliated. Like, I shook it off. I shook it off. And I laughed. I shook it off and I laughed. But inside, you know, it really, really hurt me. At that point, I was like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, if somebody has some shit to say to me, it's not going to be my weight. They can say anything about me, but like at this point, it's not going to be about my weight. And then I had coworkers who were significantly smaller than me constantly saying how fat they were. And it really put me and I think, you know, women, if you're listening to this, you know, don't talk about how fat you are around other girls. Like, because you don't know their state of mind. Like, just don't even say it, because people are going through bad times and you don't even know. Like, you're going to make them feel bad. So, like, there was coworkers saying, I'm so fat. And I was like, well, I'm significantly bigger than you. So, you know, whatever. So at that point, it became a spiteful thing in a way. It was kind of like, well, these people are calling me fat. This girl thinks she's fat. She's not. So let's go and do this. I'm going to lose some weight. So I did, you know, I ate 1,200 calories a day. It was fucking strict AF. Like, you know, and I ate Whoppers every day and Monster energy drinks, much to the dismay of Alex. He's like, that's super unhealthy, you know, but I did it. I still lost weight.
And that was the thing that we argued about from the first year when you were doing it, before I started doing it, when you were like, you were eating French fries and Monsters, and then I would come home and eat a real dinner, not a real dinner, but like, you know, spaghetti or whatever, you know. I mean, it would be a real dinner, but anyway. And I would be like, babe, like, you need to eat at least healthy while you're doing it. And you were losing weight. And I was like, I get that you're losing weight, and that's probably
Right.
overall healthy, but don't do it with like the sludge of food, like the gross garbage food. Like, and
Yeah, and it taught me, I mean, I'm glad I went through that because it taught me that, calorically dense food or junk food's not going to keep you full. So it showed me that I need to eat more vegetables I need to actually learn about nutrition if I want to maintain this journey and keep losing weight, because I'm not going to I mean, to this day, I could eat 10 Whoppers, I really could
oh
and
yeah,
not even be, I'd be
10
full, but it's
Whataburgers.
like, yeah, exactly. So,
So what would you say was what was your favorite thing to binge on before, and what's your favorite thing to binge on now?
honestly, same thing. Like, I love to eat pizza and chips. Like, pizza and chips are my weakness. Like, sour
Yeah,
cream fucking onion chips or, like, flaming hot Lays and stuff. Like, those are my favorite things. And then pizza. Like,
yeah.
and I think it'd be interesting. There's a lot of YouTube videos of people who are like, what I ate when I was 300 pounds and what I eat now. I think it'd be interesting for us to do that. I mean, our weight loss isn't that significant,
It's
but
not that extreme, but I mean, like if you, I mean, it's still significant, right? Because I went from 250, possibly 255, to right now. My lowest weight was 213, and I'm at 217 right now. So I gained 5 pounds or whatever over the holiday, but
so what is your favorite thing to eat before and after?
chips. But you know what though? Like I was thinking about that. Like I'm fine eating those like pea snacks where the bag is like 300 calories because it's so like if you give me a package of something and that thing fits into a meal, like I ate Cliff Bars and I still eat bars of whatever variety for lunch for months, and I that was what took me to the next level was limiting my caloric intake because lunch is a big deal. I mean that for me was like that. I think lunch was probably half my caloric intake in a day most of the time, and now it's less than a third. And I never eat breakfast, but like when I was peak weight, I would go out, and I remember the guy that I worked with, we'd eat lunch together every day, go out, and which was also a tremendous waste of fucking money, but like we'd go to Whole Foods and I'd fill up a fucking box from their like food bar thing where it's like, you got your enchiladas and your like
So damn good
pasta.
though.
Yeah. But then, he'd be like, you just need something to get you through the day or whatever. And I'd be like, I don't give a fuck, blah, 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 blah. But like that was, so I think that like big meals were my snacks because I never really like, I would eat sunflower seeds and I still do, but like I don't think there was ever other than popcorn maybe like a snack that I went out of my way to go get. It was meals that fucked me up. And now that's what I've got under control is like I have a big dinner and then I have no breakfast and I have a tiny lunch. And I think that's what really helps. And it's sort of pseudo intermittent fasting, I guess. Sometimes it is intermittent fasting.
Yeah, I mean maintenance is a whole other, thing. It's a whole other demon to tackle. I mean, I think maintenance is harder than, at least to me. Once you reach your goal weight, maintenance is extremely hard, especially when you have things like body dysmorphia, you have binge restrictive disorders where like you binge eat and I think it comes from eating at a caloric deficit for so long, and it's like once you're to the point where like, okay, well, I'm the weight that I'm fine with, and you eat, and then you're like, oh shit, I just binge ate, 4,000 calories, better restrict, and it's
Yeah.
like this endless cycle. So I've definitely been in a binge restrict cycle for a while now, it sucks, and I'm going to
It's
talk about that more like on our YouTube channel and just delve into that a little bit more because other people need support for it.
well, and I think the big thing for me now is like the fear of getting like of breaking my great streak of like I was down 5 pounds finally to 213, and 210 was my goal weight at the time, like last year, last fall or whatever. And then I realized I could probably go lower and be totally healthy when I talked to some like doctor lady or whatever at work, and she was like, "You'd be 170, you'd be okay." And I was like, "Dang." But um, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, well, it happens. Yeah, and so to go back, so I eventually got to my goal weight, whatever that was. I went through a really bad depression after our cat died. Sounds stupid, but like he died and I couldn't even eat or anything, and then I lost my additional like 5 pounds, and I was like, well, okay, so I got to my goal weight, whatever, and then all these kind of weird things start popping up, like feelings of inadequacy, feeling like disillusioned by society, feeling like who am I? What does my weight mean to me? Why are people treating me better? What's going on? Why do I have friends that, that I didn't used to have? Why do my friends who I used to have not hear from me? I mean, all these kind of things pop up, and I don't know. I think it's still there for men, but I think it's such a big thing for women.
Yeah.
And that's why I delve into the YouTube community of people like Jordan Shrinks and Fat Girl Fed Up. I mean, they all talk about this kind of stuff, but I think it's really important to discuss these things when you're starting to lose weight, or what are the consequences and how you're going to feel, and just be prepared for it. Be prepared for other people's ignorance. Be prepared for, people who aren't going to be supportive, and be prepared for, feeling a certain way that you've never felt before, being
Yeah.
that conventionally attractive thing that
Well,
you may have
and
never felt before.
that, and then like getting rid of the physical manifestation, like that's, I think the emotional side is much more important. Like, I mean, it's both, it's powerful for both uh, male and female, I think. Uh, but the physical manifestation of problems that represented my unhealthy state going away was like this weird eye-opening moment.
Right.
Like feeling like, oh, my legs don't hurt, my back doesn't hurt, like I'm able to do stuff. I think the first time we ran, when you convinced me to start running and I could actually run for a little bit, I was like, what the fuck is this? I haven't done this in years. Like I hadn't ran since high school. And so like things like that where you're like actually capable of doing shit.
Right, yeah. And for me it was like I would have such bad chafing in my thighs, and horrible like, I don't know what, like underneath my titties, like just horrible fucking rashes. I couldn't even do anything. And for me, walking a long distance was hard, and
Which is even represented by our experiences on vacation, because now, or not even vacation, but trips
yeah.
places, because we go for work or whatever. But I remember when we went on a vacation a long time ago with my family, and we had difficulty like walking around. Like, I mean, it was Florida in the fucking summer, but in addition to that, we were both at our probably around our peak weights or whatever, and it was like, dude, what the fuck? And now we're like speed walking fucking 11 miles a day around Vegas or Philly or Dallas or
Yeah.
whatever, and we walk it. I mean, that's something cool too. It's a fun experience, I think, to be able to do that. Like, that's a life, that's an experience in life that we didn't get before, that we do
Right.
now, is
But
like
I mean,
walking like at through cities. Like you're not Ubering, you're not driving, and which that's still fine. Like if especially if you're spread out, like there's a difference I think in destination. Like walking from downtown Philly to Pat and Gino's or whatever, or whatever, versus like driving through Mulholland Hills and wherever in LA. Like that's much more spread out, and I'm much more down than like drive around the Rust Belt. That doesn't sound like, I don't know, maybe it's fun. Comment if driving around the Rust Belt is super fucking fun, and I'll
yeah.
do it because I want to go.
But and I think the other thing with losing weight is understanding that your experiences when you were overweight are just as valid, and you were you, and that's a hard thing for me as a woman, is like people will literally make me feel I was a fucking disgusting troll before I lost weight. They're like, look at you now, like what was wrong with you before? Like you're so beautiful now, And I mean, and you know, and I don't know if I don't think anybody intentionally means it, but like, just be careful on what you say to people when they lose weight, because this shit sticks with you. And I got married when I was overweight, you know, and I still got married, and it was still a beautiful experience. I still loved what we did, and it's
Yeah.
just as valid, even if I was overweight, you know. And
No,
that's
I
the thing you have
agree.
to remember is like, life is going to take you through so many different hoops and different things, but you have to remember, like, your outward self is not definitive of your experience. And if you want to lose weight, do it for health. Do it for if you have those difficulties walking, you know, and for confidence and for everything, mental health. I mean,
Well, I
do it
think,
for
yeah,
that.
like,
Don't do it for society, because society's gonna fucking butt fuck you no matter what, you know?
yeah, that's true. Like, I mean, and to go back real quick, I agree 100% about the wedding. Like, best day of my life, but that's when I noticed that I needed to lose weight for sure. I was like, damn, I'm fat. Like, because, you take 600 pictures.
Yeah, it's not
So,
that fun.
but no, like, that's true too. Like what you're saying about society. I mean, like, now I notice people's habits at work and stuff, and like, you get a lot of so at where I work, we have like health plans where every half year or quarter or something like that, you have the option of taking like either a class or setting a goal, like quit smoking or run faster or whatever, learn gut by micro, whatever the fuck biome. So, uh, one of the things that I accidentally signed up for was cardio health. And so I went and got this like fitness deal, and I had already I was at my lowest weight ever. I was at 213. And so I go in for this initial checkup deal to see how far I can, and I'd been running too. So I was like super feeling it. So I start, and the first day, the lady was like, you could probably lose 50 more pounds. And I was like, dang, that's fucking nuts. Like, I mean, 170 or whatever, like, I haven't weighed that since sixth grade. But, and at the time, my goal weight was 210, and I was like, that's weird. So then I go back to coworkers, and I'm like, yeah, this fucking lady, she told me I need to lose 50 pounds, like fucking around. And they'd be all, what the fuck, dude? You don't even have, you can't weigh 50 pounds right now. I'm like, dude, you're fucking dumb, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I think if you saw Alex right now, I mean, just knowing him from his lowest weight, he was like already how much did you weigh when you were needing Flintstone vitamins and whatnot?
yeah, so when my parents were helping me because I had lost my job at Kmart, I quit, but I was like quit fired because I was a seasonal worker, and right before Christmas my family came to visit, and they were like, hey, we're going to be there a week, and I was like, I need a week off of work, and Kmart was like, no, and I was like, all right, later, guys. So then, I was probably 210. My parents came to visit, and they were like, do you need help with stuff? Because like you're looking a little green. Like, we'll give you money to buy Flintstone vitamins. So and I was like, I probably need to stop eating potatoes and celery all the time, because that's like all I eat. So I was probably about 210. So I
Yeah,
think
and
that
he looked extremely skinny to me. I don't know.
I might have been less than that though, because I was almost 210 in November. I was 213, and I think I was a lot skinnier.
I'm sure you were, yeah.
I must have been like 190 to 200, something like that. But no, I mean, the way people treat you even after, like people that I've met don't know that I've lost weight or whatever, and then you get in a conversation with somebody else who's lost weight, and then there's like some, for lack of a better term, fat person sitting around, and they get all triggered and butthurt, like, and I'm sorry,
Well,
it fucking happens. Like, that's the thing, is like, there's mental health that we don't talk about because of so many stigmas, and there's like physical health, which you get the stigma now of being a health nut or whatever. If you eat too much fucking vegetables and not enough meat, like, people look at you funny. Like, I was talking to a dude on a work trip, and I ordered a vegetarian burger, a veggie burger, and a side salad. And like 5 days before that, I'd been talking to him about smoking meat. And then he like gives me this weird, bizarre look, and he's like, but we talked about smoking meat, bro. And like he was hurt that I did. Like, I had broke up with him because I ordered the vegetarian burger, right? And so I was like, dude, I still fucking eat meat, dude, and I still smoke meat, and I still enjoy it a lot. But it's one of those like I can't fucking have a ribeye because they're super fatty. There's a lot of cholesterol. My I have a history of high blood pressure. And thinking about that, like one of the things that I think helped me be conscious of the fact that I could lose more weight was not only that stupid health plan thing that I was on at work, but donating blood. Like I saw my cholesterol, my hemoglobin, uh, my blood pressure, and as I lost weight, I donated 4 times a year, depending on the rotation of the moon and everything. But at the time, and I still do go donate blood. It's really good. And I'm a universal donor, so I was like, I should donate. And so I tracked my stats, and as I lost weight, everything, I watched the trend happen of my cholesterol being better, my hemoglobin level being better, like my blood pressure being better. And it was really cool to do that. So I think the more attention you pay to it, like the better you're gonna do, and the more you're gonna get into it.
I think the funniest thing for me when I just being the weight I am now, and hearing people, coworkers or whoever, like telling me you're lucky that you can eat whatever you want, because I'll be like sitting in the fucking like work kitchen or whatever, eating a hot pocket, eating donuts. You're lucky you can eat whatever you want. I eat one thing and I gain a bunch of weight, and I turn to them, I get so fucking pissed because I'm like, do you know how hard I worked to get to this point? Like I literally work hard every day is, and people know this when I lose weight. It's a struggle. And maintenance is such a fucking struggle, and you have body dysmorphia, you have all this kinds of shit that you're running into for somebody to like. And that's the other pro tip. Don't say that to any person, female or male. Don't be like, well, you're lucky you're naturally thin or whatever. That nobody's fucking. It's calories in, calories out. I don't give a fuck. Somebody could sit there and be like, well, I eat whatever I want and I'm skinny. And I could literally sit there and count your calories and like, oh, we're eating 1,500 calories. Gotcha, bro. Like I could count your calories for you, but like, I mean, that's the hardest thing for me is like trying not to punch people when they tell me that, you know?
It's like,
and then I showed them pictures and I was overweight. They're like, that's not real. That's not you. And I'm like, yeah, that was me. Like,
That's so weird. But it's also like, you're not going to have any, or people who are like, do you don't want to go to lunch?
And at my old job where I started losing a bunch of weight, like where it was a thing, we would have these like luncheons or whatever where we would have meetings, and I felt the need to overeat because I got told I was anorexic so much. People were like, we're not eating, you're losing a bunch of weight. So I would eat like way more than I want to because they would get KFC or whatever, and I'd be eating a bunch, and I'm like, I'm not even hungry.
And that's so fucking hard, especially like I was saying, like lunch is such a fucking pain because I'm so used to eating big dinners. I don't know how you feel about it, but like if I eat a big lunch, I'm fucked. There's nothing I can do.
Well, I think like me and Alex talk a lot. I'll be like, what'd you eat for lunch? Because we're both like super into like hearing about each other's like how many calories did you eat, but like.
Well, I feel like we keep each other in check a pretty good. I mean, not in a dickhead way, but I'm never like I'll be like, why did you eat so much? We're going out to dinner or whatever, because if it's like roast beef, some chicken, a pizza, donuts, ham, Captain Crunch, then it's like, but we were supposed to go to fucking a nice dinner and now you can only have soup.
Yeah.
But not in that way. It's like, well, I know what your calories are, you know what my calories are. And so if I eat like a foot-long sub with a bag of chips and a full fucking non-diet Coke or whatever, which I don't support diet soda everywhere. I got conspiracy theories about that shit.
I do.
I got conspiracy theories will blow your head.
I mean, I'll tell him. I think mostly for him because he's still on, his journey. My thing is like I gained 5 pounds more than my goal weight, so I would like to lose it, But with him, it's like he'll tell me what he's eating, and I'm like, let me calculate your calories. I love that. And can somebody tell me what's going on with MyFitnessPal, because you can't quick add your calories? Like you can't just add your calories and quick add?
More like my fat ass pal.
Anyways, but it's a whole, I could talk about weight loss and things that have occurred because of the weight loss and things like that for hours. I really could. And all I have to say is you love and support people no matter what journey they're at, and people don't become, and I watched my 600-pound life, and some of those people are motherfuckers. I mean, they're really mean stuff, but like a lot of them, turn to eating as an emotional gateway for trauma that's happened. And I think you need to support people and give them the tools. I didn't have the tools. I didn't know what calories were. I didn't know how to eat. Give them the tools. And that's why I continuously, people ask me, how'd you lose weight? I tell them, regardless, if I have one friend from Ohio, she had the same stats as me, 5'3". I think we start at the same spot. And now she weighs just as much as me, and me and her talk all the time. She's so happy. She's like a fucking PhD and shit, and like we talk to each other all the time, and like and I gave her those tools. I'm not saying I can be attributed for her weight loss completely, but she went through that, and she came out, she asked for my help. And that's the thing, if you've gone through this, help people, give them those tools, because they can succeed, and they may have emotional issues making them overeat, but you just have to be there for people and be understanding and empathetic. And I'm done ranting. Sorry. Weight loss is like 6ix9ine, the rapper. I'll go on for it forever.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot to talk about. Like, there's so much, it's such a huge change to your life. Like, I mean, you've got the physical aspect, the mental health aspect, like, and I'm sure those people on TV who are super ornery are like totally having social issues because they sit in a room and can't walk through a doorway for like 7 years or whatever. But it's just it's a holistic, for lack of a better term, I guess.
It really is, yeah.
And that's the mindset that I had going into it, but I didn't understand what that meant. And now that I do, like, one of the things is, like, in the day before Thanksgiving, I was 213 pounds, my lowest weight in fucking years. Like, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I was 225 on the scale. And I was like, oh shit, like, I'm experienced enough now to know that wasn't my actual weight, but that was like, I was fucking like shitting bricks, because I was like, oh no, like I'm almost halfway back to where I started. I can't fucking deal with this horrible shit. So, and it was almost like PTSD, like thinking about it, because like it was such a horrible fucking existence. Like, just imagining everybody like in the Midwest in the 90s, and this is, just my experience of shit. Like, it's 1995. You're living in the Midwest. It's winter and it's fucking cold. And you had McDonald's for breakfast, Wendy's for lunch, Taco Bell for a snack, and Pizza Hut for dinner. And you're super fucking happy with all of the horrible fucking things that are going on in your body.
And yeah, I mean, there's people out there that say that calorie counting is disordered eating. They automatically equate, calorie counting, well, you have an eating disorder if you count calories. And I'm sorry, I don't think so. And I think you can live your life. I don't think you need to log everything, but I think having that awareness will keep you healthy. And it's okay. It's okay to count calories. It's okay. People should do that, especially in America. Unfortunately, we don't have, like other countries. Like, it's a different culture. It's a different thing. It's like we have fast food everywhere. We have all these options. I mean, we went to Cheesecake Factory a couple weeks ago, and it's 1,600 calories for one fucking cheesecake.
Well, but their fucking menu.
More than
my God,
daily allowance than a day. And it's
yeah, but hold on a minute.
Why is this legal? To me, that's insane. That's insane.
No, I agree. Like, I think that I'm of the mindset that, like, food should be on a calorie cost basis. Like, if it's 1,600 calories, it should cost more than like 800 calories or whatever.
Yes, and it's messed up. Yeah.
But I mean, and it's not like those places are bad. Like, I mean, they have
delicious AF. I love that shit.
Yeah, it's not as. I will say that Cheesecake Factory is not as good as Applebee's.
Lies. Come on. What the heck, dude?
You can't blame me. Just kidding. That's not true. I don't know. Applebee's isn't sponsoring us, so I can say whatever I want. Cheesecake Factory's better. But No, like that's a trend that I fucking love is like that the calories are on shit, because then like the more restaurants and shit post their calories on their shit, the less work I have to do tracking. Because the last 10 pounds that I lost, I got stuck at like 220 for a year because I didn't understand what to do. I was eating healthily, but it was still too much. I was still overeating my calories or whatever.
I don't know if this is
But well, the last thing that I was gonna say basically is like the last 10 pounds that I lost before I gained them back was all done without tracking calories, right? I had the mental cognizant like moment as I like either prepped a meal or ordered a meal where I was like, okay, am I good doing this? And it was habits like not eating breakfast, which is just a personal preference. I wake up 5 minutes before I leave the house, and I don't want to have fucking a cheesy sausage butthole in my fucking hand. Yeah, so I don't want to deal with that. I want to start my day with a cup of coffee. I'm not hungry because I ate a big dinner. And then for lunch, I basically just eat exactly what needs to take me to dinner, right? So there was these habits where, okay, I'm eating a Cliff Bar for lunch, and that's 250 calories. So cool. Then you have however much, basically at that point, because I'm a 6'1" man, and I am at 215 pounds, dinner is whatever the fuck it wants to be when you eat 200 calories for lunch. It ain't that fucking hard.
And then, well, I mean, we can talk about we're called accidentally fasting, but I've been doing intermittent fasting a little bit. I wouldn't recommend it for somebody who has, binge restrictive tendencies where you binge and then restrict. But it's helped a little bit. I was gonna tell a little funny story about how when I was losing weight a whole bunch, eating 1,200 calories a day. One day my coworker got a stuffed sopapilla from a beautiful place called El Modelo in Albuquerque. And these motherfuckers what would you say is in them? I mean, they're huge AF. Like, these are like...
Well, it's like this, it's like what people, so a sopapilla is like a beignet. If you've ever been to New Orleans and you haven't been to Albuquerque or New Mexico or whatever, it's like a bubble of bread. So it's a square, sometimes a circle or a triangle of bread that they fry, and it bubbles up, and then they cut it open and they put stuff in the middle sometimes, or they put powdered sugar or whatever. So that's what a sopapilla is.
Right.
And then the commonly found form of a sopapilla for savory dishes is, I think, El Modelo, you can get like beans, onions, tomatoes, whatever, maybe pico.
Yeah.
And then, whatever meat,
And
because
cheese,
their red
right?
chili is fucking the best red chili in the universe. I don't give a shit
think
what
of a
anybody
Hot
fucking says.
Pocket, but think 3 times the size with way more stuff inside.
I don't know, no, because it's only like 350 calories or whatever
Anyway,
for theirs.
so I remember, like, I was deep into my calorie counting, and I called this, like, local fucking Albuquerque place where I don't know. I mean, they're bilingual and stuff. Like, I don't know if they even had like a real menu. And I call and I'm like, hey, how many calories are in your stuffed sopapilla? And the one girl was like, what? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, how many? Well, I mean, imagine.
Well, because I was dumb. I didn't know. I was so ignorant. I thought that everybody counted calories. Like, this was when I first started doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, maybe they do know what kind of calories they have. Nope, they didn't know.
Well, and that's been something that has been slowly spreading, not like wildfire, but maybe like a slow motion wildfire, is like the calories on the menu. Because even fucking Twin Peaks does it. Like, weird ass places that you'd be like, I'm pretty sure Buffalo Wild Wings does it.
Oh, heck yeah, they do.
Like, yeah, I don't know about.
Most chains do.
You know who
Chains
does?
do.
Fucking Applebee's.
Well, I think every chain does, and unfortunately, I'd like to get better about it because I don't like going to local places. Because I'm like, well, what kind of fucking calories you got?
Well, we're kind of in like local place hell because the food is usually really fucking good, but it's also usually really fucking carbs. So, like, if you get your nachos or your chili cheese fries or your huevos rancheros or whatever it is, like, it's fucking like 90% corn or flour. I mean, the sopapilla is not, well, I mean, maybe not 90%.
But then, and so with learning, nutritious or learning a healthy lifestyle, that sometimes it's all about moderation, and you need to eat a little bit. You don't gotta eat the whole thing, and that was my thing, to learn how my relationship with food, to not eat till I'm fucking stuffed to the brim and just eat till I'm satisfied.
Oh
That was
yeah.
the biggest thing.
Because I think we went through that 3 years of going from never eating any real food to eating all you can eat buffets like every day or whatever. Like
Yeah.
CC's and fucking Chinese buffets and whatever. Like in and you know, it's you're chasing it. It's almost like getting high because you got a dopamine rush or whatever it is. Like you get that feeling in your stomach where it's like painful to walk back to the car and you're all, I fucking did it, and then that makes your stomach bigger and then you need more to do it and then you just
Yeah.
end up going over the fucking
But
overboard.
I wouldn't take it back for nothing. I'm happy that I went through this part of my life, and I'm happy that I went through being normal weight, being overweight, and then losing weight, and I'm happy about this experience, and I like to help people. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just
Yeah.
this. It's important, and in life you're gonna go through phases. You really are. It's a part of life. You may be an emotional eater. Some people have other drugs of choice. Some people like to drink a lot. Some people like to snort a lot of crack. I mean, I don't know what you like to do, but like
Well,
everybody has their own drug of choice, their own escape avoidance, and it's all about, learning with that. And
but I think the biggest thing, if anything, to take away from an episode like this, where, I mean, I don't mean to be all instructional or whatever, but I think it's good to get people's perspective when they've gone through it and stuff. But I think to me, the biggest thing is like, it's not a diet. Like, I don't fucking diet. I don't do and I get so fucking furious with people when they're like, I'm on keto. And I'm
you're
like,
on the potato diet.
right. I'm like, dude, oh my God, nobody gives a fuck. Like, you're just gonna gain that weight back. And I did it too, you know? Like, you rubber band. And the thing is for me, like Katie did it right away and just like dove head first and hit it hard and lost weight like crazy. For me, it took a year for me to get my brain into the right place where I was like, I'm flipping the switch. I'm now being healthier. And it wasn't even like, you just be aware. And
Yeah.
that's like baby steps. You gotta be like Bob Wiley, you know? Go to
Yeah.
New Hampshire. You're local. Don't be hassled. Like, let the chicken wings stick to your ribs.
And it's all
And
about balance. Like, don't miss out on life experiences because you're dieting or you're calorie counting. Like, live your life, and still do things you want to do. Like, eat your pizza and just learn from it. One bad day doesn't define your whole week. I mean,
yeah,
if you have one bad day where you're like, well, shit, I ate, way too much, whatever. I mean, don't give up, dude. Every day is a new day, and if you have some emotional problem where it's causing you to overeat, really think about it, try and get some therapy for it, and you're not alone. There's tons of resources, there are tons of people who
yeah.
want to listen to you. So,
Well, and I think the last thing that I would say about it is like, if nothing else, like it's a big financial plus. Like sometimes I'd spend up to $15 on lunch and I ate lunch out every day with somebody. So, in the job that I had at the time where I was peak weight, I could have a beer or, whatever, and that gets to be fucking expensive. And healthcare in this country, I don't mean to get all political and shit, but I do, because fuck that shit, dude, it's expensive as shit. I remember having fucking Obamacare and then going to fucking like Blue Cross Blue Shield where my deductible was 4,000 a year plus what I paid like 200 out of every check. And like I didn't need to be getting sick or having problems, but I was because I was overweight and shit. So there's all these hidden costs to being like just unhealthy. And it's a super easy way to to make yourself more stable, to prolong your life, to not have to be in and out of fucking hospitals. And there's just all these people that I work with who have health problems. Like some dude that I work with just retired at 55, which good for him because it's early, but because he literally couldn't walk to like his car from the office. So he was like, it's mobility, health reasons. And I was like, yeah, but you're also like 400 or 500 pounds. And then other people are like, I've got fallen arches or fasciitis pupillatus or whatever it is in your feet, or your feet hurt, which, sucks. And I'm not saying these things aren't legitimate. Like, some people got thyroid problems. But if you're 300 pounds and your doctor says you got thyroid problems, you probably need to think about how much food you're stuffing into your face.
And unfortunately, I don't want to get too controversial, but it's like there's people that literally will go to the doctor's office, not weigh themselves. If their doctor mentions their weight, they make a crying video on YouTube about it. Like, my doctor mentioned my weight and they fat shamed me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not going to get too into that stuff because I could talk about that for 45 minutes if I'd like. But my thing is, take a look at yourself and your goals, and take a look at your health and your mental health and physical health. It all correlates. And if you need help, if you're striving for a more active life and you want to live longer, I mean, go ahead and make that lifestyle change. And like I said, people have vices, but it's all about working with them and, just realizing overall your long-term health is more than those short-term endorphins that you get when you eat a ho-ho. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's much cooler to be able to go on vacation and walk 7 to 11 miles a day and like really get into the like nitty-gritty of where you are than to like Uber somewhere and then eat like 400,000 calories of whatever.
That's nice sometimes too. It's all about balance. Just have balance.
That's true. And you can still do it. I fucking like 8 plates of food when we went to Wicked Spoon in Vegas a couple months ago. Like, I mean, and still.
One day's not going to kill you.
So we went to Vegas in October. I binge ate the fuck out of that place. Like, I literally ate until my stomach hurt. And then I went outside and had crack pie at Milk. And a month later, I was at my lowest weight ever. But I mean, and I don't think it's like, people will say like your life gets better or whatever, and that's true, but don't expect it to be a cure-all either. Like,
it's not. And trust me, as somebody who went from overweight to like conventionally, attractive to society, whatever. I'm not like tooting my own horn, but this is what society, says or dictates. My life has not been better. I wouldn't say I'm any more happy. Am I healthier? Do I feel more active? Do I feel more confident? Yeah, definitely. And it's worth it that way. And I don't have those weird skin conditions. Losing weight is not a cure-all. I mean, it's not going to solve all of your problems. Yes, you may be more conventionally attractive to society, which brings a whole other gamut of issues, but it's not a cure-all. And yes, for me, it was more like, okay, well, my skin's not fucked up. I can walk far places. I have more confidence, things like that. That was awesome. But I still had a lot of things internally that I needed to work on. And that's the important thing that you need to remember if you are trying to lose weight.
Yeah, because it brings out, I think, the internal stuff. Like, I mean, we both, it's probably just our history or whatever, but Katie and I both have suffered from pretty bad depression in the past and whatever emotional issues and stuff. And I think that being overweight, clinically obese, because I was, right? Like, you think, oh, if I just weren't this fat and I could eat whatever I wanted or whatever, then I'd be okay. But once you start losing weight and you realize, well, I really am eating whatever I want, I'm just not eating so much of it, and I don't need to eat so much of it or whatever, you still have the underlying issues of like whatever those mental health problems were or social issues or whatever they were.
And it's more prominent. I mean, when you don't have that emotional eating, you can't, cling to that. It becomes really prominent. It's like, okay, and you do fall into depression. It's kind of like drinking. Withdrawal in a way. Yeah, and you do other habits. And some people, they are fortunate enough where they're like, okay, well, I'm going to run or exercise more because I used to be obese and now I'm going to run.
For a while.
Yeah, we did. And I think it's like anything, any other addiction where it's like you get rid of it and then you need to find that endorphin replacement,
Well, I think for me, the first step was not drinking so much. Because I would consider myself back then a pretty bad alcoholic. Like, I was buying at least a bottle of whiskey a week and a 12-pack every other day. So I think that, like, that, I don't know, it's such, humans are so complex. Like, there's no diet or activity that you can do. I mean, maybe meditation is all it's hyped up to be, right? But, I mean, I spent years meditating, like, on a daily basis. When I lived alone, I meditated for hours a day, like, and I don't think that it was as big a benefit as people chalk it up to be now, because it's the new fad or whatever. So, it's the same thing. Like, you stop drinking, your life, each thing is collectively an improvement to your happiness.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you stop drinking, you stop eating so much, maybe you start meditating, maybe you start exercising, and, you start being more mindful of yourself, you start working on your fucking resume and try to get a different job so you're not working at Kmart, you're working at a deli like I was back in the day. Hell yeah.
But do you think, like, empowerment to me was the biggest thing? To be empowered. It's like, I can control my weight, I can control what goes into my mouth, and it's empowering, that to me is very beneficial. I don't know if that's how you felt when you lost weight, but I mean.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot about control. And I think it was just, being able to say, like, hey, I'm able to do, like, something that makes me feel good or whatever. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of things I read it, on YouTube channels and comments, is like, people are like, well, I keep getting bigger, I can't control it, blah, 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 and it's like, you can. And you will, dude. You just got to put that in your mind. Is like, I can control this. And with anything else.
Well, I think it's like, the way that I see it as, like, I guess I'm pretty, I don't know about nerdy or geeky or whatever, but I'm pretty into technology and sci-fi and shit. But, like, the way that I see it is, like, each little thing like that is like waking up from the Matrix. Like, you literally have had this reality that's been fake in front of your eyes for so long, and when you stop doing that thing, all it took was you stopping or starting, and that's it. Like, and every day you take it bit by bit or whatever, and that's what it is. That's how I feel about it.
And it's hard, and don't let people discount anything. And my other big thing is, like, when you start losing weight, there's going to be jealous people, and they're going to tell you you're anorexic or you need to stop, or everybody's going to try and dictate your weight, just do what makes you happy and everything. So,
yeah. So that's enough, I think, for the general weight loss fitness episode. I think we covered all our bases. I think
there's a lot more to go through. I could go over it for, like, 3
and
more
that's
hours.
The thing is, please check out the website, accidentallyfasting.com. You can listen to our podcast there. If you don't like having a separate app for it, you can watch a picture on YouTube as we talk through this podcast. So if you're listening on iTunes, Stitcher, whatever, you can listen on YouTube.
And there will be YouTube videos out, like I was saying.
Yeah, so we're going to both probably here in the near future be doing videos of whatever it is that we think we need to be doing videos of. But, if you ever need an uplifting moment, check out the website. Thanks for listening to the podcast. We both appreciate it very much. If you need more than that stuff, there's Accidentally Fasting on Twitter.
Or you can DM me on, if you ever need advice or need a friendly talk to, DM me on Instagram. My handle is @IEnjoySneezing. Come talk to me. I'll talk to you, bitch, if you talk to me. Whoop.
Yep, and I'm at Langston Books, I guess, now that I changed it.
He enjoys sneezing on books.
Because I write. All right, everybody, until next time, eat shit and fuck goats.
Bye!